My name is Bena Medjuck-Bruckner. My husband and I, Gustavo and I, started coming to Ansche Chesed 11 years ago when our son Noam was a baby. We were members at a different Upper West Side synagogue, which meant a weekly walk of 17 blocks from our little apartment on 105th Street. Already regular shulgoers, but neophytes in the world of family programming, we accepted the invitation to nearby Ansche Chesed from a friend who was leading the family service that year. Her service was sweet, and most importantly, Noam loved it. So we made a point of returning often that year, and we never stopped. The family service leaders have changed over the years, but the formula has stayed constant with engaging sing-along songs, the requisite stuffed Torah parade, and lots of grape juice and challah at the end. We know this because after Noam came 3 daughters, Ayelet, Yafa, and Sivan. Growing up at Ansche Chesed, our children graduated to the next level of age-appropriate Shabbat services every few years. They are currently devoted to the big kid service where no parents are allowed. But after all this time, Gustavo and I are still in the family service for preschoolers with our youngest child. We are still singing about the Shabbat dinosaur and marching in a circle with the stuffed Torahs. We didn't actually join Ansche Chesed for a few years because our attendance was so sporadic and our integration was so gradual that it took us a long time to realize that we were becoming regulars at 2 synagogues. We loved the services at both, we developed relationships with congregants and clergy at both, and our absences were noticed at both synagogues when we skipped one to attend the other on varying weeks. One funny thing about being active at 2 synagogues is that if we miss a week at one, people automatically assume we are attending the other, and mostly we are. But occasionally, we get away with a week off altogether, and no one knows. After our first year at Ansche Chesed, we started giving an annual donation to the Family Education Department to compensate for the fact that we were attending without being members. After all, who would be crazy enough to pay for 2 synagogue memberships? We were, it turned out. The factor that tipped us towards membership at Ansche Chesed was not spiritual at all. Membership at Ansche Chesed gave us the chance to register early for Shabbat Gym, one of the best kept secrets of Jewish families on the Upper West Side. If you aren't in the know, Shabbat Gym is an open playtime and, by registration only, oasis for families with young children during the cold winter months. Kids can jump and swing and expend their energy on the elaborate gymnastics equipment of the Discovery Center in the cavernous downstairs space adjacent to Hirsch Hall. Meanwhile, parents schmooze on the sidelines and occasionally engage their children in a game of catch using oversized foam balls, or they bounce together on the trampoline, or they tumble together on the mats. Shabbat afternoons fly by this way, but registration is limited and there is always a waiting list. Once we knew about Shabbat Gym, making the official shift to membership at Ansche Chesed was a no-brainer. Over the years, we have grown to appreciate our assigned seats in the sanctuary on High Holy Days, getting used to the familiar faces all around us. We love the camaraderie of lingering over Shabbat Kadish after the sanctuary service. We are always happy for the lunch and the chance to socialize with other members of the congregation and occasional visitors. New friendships here have grown deeper, and other friends with children have followed us to Ansche Chesed. We love the clergy, the melodiousness and warmth of Chazan Natasha, and the inspirational and insightful teachings of Rabbi Jeremy, who feels as much like a friend as a religious leader. We value the contributions of the many lay leaders who help make the service tick. You've probably seen us in the main sanctuary on Shabbat. We reconvene there as a family toward the end of the morning service after the various children's services finish throughout the building. Our youngest daughter, Sivan, is a regular Adon Olamnik. She's the 4-year-old with the long blonde curls who runs down the center aisle into the arms of Chazan Natasha, and she especially loves the soft gummy candies that are offered to children right after Adon Olam. Our other daughters, Ayelet and Yafa, are the 2 that look the most alike, with matching straight, dark hair and big brown eyes, even though they are a few years apart in age. Baby Noam, now in middle school, has long, blonde, curly peyot, and is looking forward to becoming a bar mitzvah Ansche Chesed next year, in June 2018. We are humans of Ansche Chesed as a family, but in this past year, I made a deep connection to Ansche Chesed as an individual. The weekday minyan was a cherished refuge for me, as I said Kadish for my father who died last March. This year of attending minyan helped me honor his memory because he was a regular minyaner at his synagogue in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And now, I am a minyaner too, at Ansche Chesed.